Welcome back to Crochet by Night. Tonight we're going to have some fun by creating this beautiful Tis the Season holiday hat. You can see here that it has a ribbed band that folds up quite nicely. It has Christmas trees on it. This one it has Christmas trees on it, and it has a beautiful little poofy ball on the top. So in order to do this project, you'll need a size 6mm crochet hook. I'm using Crafter's Secret in an off-white, and for the purpose of the tutorial, I'm also going to use the Super Saver red metallic. Now in this one, which is when I created the pattern, my initial test hat, I did not use the Super Saver metallic, but I am going to use it for the tutorial, and then we'll look at the difference at the end of the video. You'll also need a fuzzy ball, or you'll need to make your own. I like to purchase mine. I don't make a lot of the pom-poms. And you'll need a needle to sew in your ends. So grab your hook, grab your first color of yarn, and let's get started. We're going to start by making a slip knot, then inserting our hook, and then we're going to chain 60. 1, 2, go ahead and chain 60 chains, and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, once you have your 60 chains, kind of run your finger along to make sure the chain doesn't get twisted, and get to the end, and then you're going to slip stitch into the very beginning stitch. You're going to slip stitch into the very beginning stitch, creating a circle. I'm going to chain 2, and I like to flip my chain over then, because I like to do my first row in the back bump of each one of these chains. So you're going to put a double crochet in the back bump of every stitch all the way around, making sure to count and making sure that you have 60 double crochets when you get to the end. It's important to have 60 because 60 is what the tree pattern is based on. It's a repeat of 12. So go ahead and double crochet in the back bump of each stitch all the way around, ending with 60 double crochets. And I will meet you back and show you how to end the row. Once you have your 60 stitches, you're going to slip stitch into the top of your chain 2. That chain 2 counted as a stitch, so make sure that you have 60 stitches all the way around. And we'll move on to row 2. For row 2, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to find our first double crochet, the post of our first double crochet, and you're going to front post double crochet around it. So to front post double crochet, you yarn over, you insert your hook to the right of the double crochet, and bring it up underneath, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that one more time with the next stitch. Front post double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, insert your hook up under the post, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now you have a front post double crochet and then another front post double crochet. For the third stitch, we're going to do a back post double crochet. Yarn over, insert your, push your hook behind and push it through, and yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you have 2 front posts and then a back post. We're going to do 2, that's going to be our row repeat all the way around. You're going to do 2 front post double crochets and then one back post double crochet. So let's go ahead and yarn over, insert your hook, push it up underneath from right to left, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. One more front post double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook underneath, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to do our back post double crochet, and you can even just flip your work over if you need to. I yarn over, flip your work so you can see, get in underneath it, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now 2 front post double crochets. And then 1 back post double crochet. And repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the end of this round. So when you get to your last couple of stitches, the last 2 stitches are front post double crochets, and then you're going to slip stitch into your chain 2. Remember, for the brim of this hat, the chain 2 counts as a stitch. So slip stitch, and you're going to, next we're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to repeat the same pattern. So you're going to put a front post double crochet in the 2 front post double crochets. You're going to put a back post double crochet in the back post double crochet, and you're going to repeat this all the way around until you have the size of the brim that you want. Now for me, I did, let's see, I did 6, it looks like I did 6 rows. If you are not using a size 6mm crochet hook, if you're using a smaller hook, you will need to do as many rows as it takes to get your brim about 3 inches in width. So the smaller the hook, the more rows you'll have, the more rounds you'll have to complete. Once you get your brim, keeping in mind it's going to turn up. So 6, for me with a 6mm, 6 rounds were perfect. So go ahead and repeat row 2 until you get the desired width. And then maybe back here, and we will start on our tree pattern. I have 6 rows completed. For the next row, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do the 2 front post double crochets. So there's 1 and 2. But then, instead of a back post double crochet, we're just going to put a half double crochet in that stitch. So you have 2 front posts and then a half double crochet in the top of that back post. So let's do that again together. We're going to do the front post double crochet and a front post double crochet, and then a half double just in the top of that back post double crochet. And when you pull it apart, it kind of looks like there's 2 stitches back there, but there's really not. This one here, that's your very first front post double, gets kind of pulled over. So make sure when you're putting your half double crochet, you're putting it into this stitch here, the very first one, so that the one closest to the stitch you just completed. So right there. And then 2 front post double crochets. And then a half double crochet. And if you don't know how to do a half double crochet, or any of these, if you're having trouble with the front post and the back post double crochets, go to my basic tutorials on stitches and look at those, because I have the half double crochet and I believe I have the front and back post double crochet tutorials listed. Continue this round repeat until you get back to the beginning of this round, till you get back to your beginning stitch. It's going to be 2 front post double crochets and then a half double crochet right there, and then 2 front post double crochets. So do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the end of this round. Okay, when you're back to the beginning stitch, you're going to slip stitch right into that beginning chain 2. Now we're going to start the foundation of our, we're going to start the foundation for our, so chain 1, and we're going to, we still have 60 stitches all the way around. We're going to put a single crochet right back into that same stitch, and we're going to put we're going to put a single crochet in every stitch all the way around till we get to the end. That'll give us 60 single crochets. Make sure you stop and take time to stop and count them, because having the right amount of stitches on this row is very important. So go ahead and put a single crochet all the way around, and I will see you back at the end of this round. Okay, when you get back to the end, you're going to slip stitch to connect that round. When you were going around, when you were counting, if for some reason you had too many stitches, you're going to need to do a decrease in the last couple of stitches to make sure you have 60 stitches, or if you didn't have enough for some reason, you need to do an increase. If you don't know how to do an increase or a decrease, you'll need, then you can look at my basic stitch tutorials to see how to do that. Hopefully you had exactly 60 stitches all the way around. Now, we are going to have a little bit of fun here, because we're going to get to use 2 different kinds of yarn, and we get to start our pattern. So the first thing you're going to do is get your yarn, your second color, color B, and you're going to, do not cut this one off, just pull that through and hold it down there. So this gets a little tricky the very first stitch, but I want you to just continue, I just want you to put it through, and then insert your hook in the back loop only of that first single crochet, do a single crochet. So you're going to drop your other color, drop it behind there, and you're going to single crochet in the back loop only of every stitch all the way around, and you should have 60 stitches. So if you've never crocheted in the back loop you see that your stitch has, let's see if I can show this here. You see that your stitch has one loop that's closest to you and one that's further away. You're going to put a single crochet in that back loop. So insert your hook underneath that back loop, yarn over, pull up a stitch, single crochet, back loop only, all the way around, making sure that you have 60 stitches. When you get all the way around, meet me back here and we will finish off the round together. And make sure you have 60 stitches. And then slip stitch into the back loop only of the very first stitch. You're going to drop your yarn to the back. And you're going to pull your other color, your yarn A, to the front, and you're going to yarn over and just pull up a loop through there. Take your other color and tighten it up. Keep that to the back. Now the first row, starting our Christmas tree, or our holiday tree, I call it a Christmas tree, is going to have 5 drop down doubles, and then 2 back loop onlys, and then 5 drop down doubles again. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. So starting here, let me show you this one. You'll have 5 drop down doubles, and then you'll have 2 back loop onlys. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to drop down. See where we worked in only into the back loop that left the front loop sticking up there? You're going to drop down and you're going to insert your hook underneath the loop from 2 rows prior, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You're going to do that 5 times in a row. So it's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you're going, for the next 2 stitches, well, first off, spread those out and make sure, count behind 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to make sure you're not going to be working into the wrong stitch. See, and I've got it held here so you can see my next stitch. I'm going to put a back loop only single crochet in that stitch and in the next stitch. And then I'm going to do 5 more drop down doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so it's time to repeat that pattern again for the next tree. So it's 5 drop down doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now 2 back loop only single crochets, 1, 2, and then 5 more drop down doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Somehow I keep crocheting my hair into this. Okay. And 5. So that ends that pattern. So we start with a new tree pattern, which is 5 drop down doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2 back loop only single crochets. 1, 2, and 5 drop down doubles. 1, whoops, if I can get there without catching something else. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that ends that tree pattern. Do 5 more drop down doubles starting the next one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 drop down doubles. So that leaves us with 2 back loop only single crochets. And then 5 drop down doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Let's see how we're coming around the circle here. Well, that ended that tree pattern, and we're going to start a new one. So it's 5 drop down doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Should leave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. 2 back loop only single crochets, and that should leave you 5 drop down doubles to complete this round. 1, 2, whoops, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So slip stitch into your first stitch there. So tighten it up just a little bit so that you're covering that up. And this is what it should look like so far. You can see we're at the very first part here. Next we'll be doing our drop down doubles into the back loop only single crochets. So let me get the chart and I will show you what the chart looks like. So the chart, we worked our first foundation row of single crochets, and then we worked a row of red or color B in back loop only. Our foundation row, our row of red. So this is our foundation row of white. This is our foundation row, if you will, of red. And then we worked our 5 drop down doubles, our 2 back loop onlys, and our 5 drop down doubles. And then we started over. 5 drop down doubles, 2 back loop onlys, 5 drop down doubles. And then we started over, and we did that all the way around. We're now on this row right here, which is going to be a row repeat, or a pattern repeat of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back loop onlys and 2 drop down doubles. The X's in the pattern represent drop down doubles. So it doesn't matter what color the square is. If there's no X, it's a back loop only single crochet. If there's an X, it's a drop down double. Okay, so we're on this row, and we're going to do 5 back loop only single crochets and then 2 drop down doubles. So let's get started on that. We're going to switch colors again, and I'm just dropping my off-white to the back, and I'm pulling my red forward and pulling it through, tightening my white a little bit on it. And this is the only stitch that has any issues right here. We're going to do back loop only single crochet 1, back loop only single crochet 2, back loop only single crochet 3, back loop only single crochet 4, back loop only single crochet, and 5. Then you're going to yarn over and drop down into that first stitch right there and do a drop down double, and then you're going to do a drop down double in the next stitch, and then 5 back loop only single crochets. It's 2, 3, 4, 5. So that starts your Christmas tree. And you can see it looks like it's wider on this one than that. That's because some of it gets covered up with your drop down doubles as you keep repeating rows. So let's start this Christmas tree pattern once again, which means we just ended this one. We're going to start a new one, and we're going to start it again with 5 back loop only single crochets, 2 drop downs, 5 back loops. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you're going to do your 2 drop down doubles. So there's 1 and 2. Then you have 5 more back loop only single crochets, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that ends that Christmas tree pattern. So then you're going to start with 5 5 back loop only single crochets, and then so it'll get us right up to our 2 drop down doubles. Complete your 2 drop down doubles, and then continue this pattern all the way around. Between your 2 drop down doubles, there's actually 10 back loop only single crochets, 5 to end a Christmas tree pattern and 5 to begin a Christmas tree pattern. So you'll have 5 to end and 5 to begin. Go ahead and finish that all the way around, putting a total of 10 back loop only single crochets into your, and then 2 drop down doubles, and then 10. And I'll meet you back at the end of the row. Okay, when you get to the last, after you finish your last 2 drop down doubles, you should only have 5 back loop only single crochets left because you started a pattern with 5. So put those in, and then let's finish off the round. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you'll finish off the round by slip stitching into that back loop of that first single crochet. I'm going to drop your yarn down, pull up your other color. You're going to pull a loop through and tighten. Now for the next row, we're going to have 1 drop down double. And it's a little tricky because this, like I said, this very first stitch in every round is the one that's a little hard to find. So I'm going to, it's kind of a smaller stitch. There we go. Pull that red to tighten. Okay, so I have 1 drop down double, and then I'm going to have 10 back loop only single crochets. So put in 10 back loop only single crochets. And then 1 drop down double. So you can start seeing the separation between the Christmas trees. And then you're going to do 10 more. Once you have your double, remember we're starting the pattern over again, so you should have 1 more double, drop down double, and then 10 back loop only single crochets. Seven, 8, 9, and 10, and then you have a drop down double that ends that pattern and a drop down double that begins the next one. You know you're on track as you're putting your 10 back loop only single crochets in if the 5th one that you put in hits right here at the top of this drop down double. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I'm going to do 2 drop down doubles. There's 1 and 2. And then 10 back loop only single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now I'm going to have 2 drop down doubles. And 10 back loop only single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and remember my 5th one's going to hit the top of this first drop down double from the previous row. So 6, the 6th one goes into the top of the second drop down double there. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, now remember we started with a drop down double, so we should only have space for 1 stitch left, and that will be a drop down double, and then we will slip stitch into the top of that stitch. So here's what it looks like so far. And you can see the difference. I'm using, it looks the same, but I'm using a shiny metallic red on this one. Your tree pattern will start coming along in just a few rows. You really start seeing, you can kind of see it now, but you'll really see it in a few rows. So go ahead and drop your color down and pull up your next color. Now remember, we're in the top of this first drop down double, and we're going to do 2 right back into that stitch, 2 back loop only single crochets. So there's 1, 2, and then we're going to do 8 drop down doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to put in 2 back loop only single crochets to finish off that pattern. And then we start with 2 back loop only single crochets for the next pattern. So really you're putting 4 back loop only single crochets and then 8 drop down doubles. So continue on putting your 8 drop down doubles and then your 4 back loop only single crochets, and meet me back when you at the end when you have only 2 spaces to complete. Also, remember on this row, your 4th drop down double actually hits in the top of that drop down double from 2 rows previous. So that'll help you make sure you're on track. So go ahead and complete that. 8 drop down doubles, 4 back loop onlys. So you should have 2 back loop onlys left at the end of this round to complete, since you already had 2 from the beginning. And you're going to slip stitch into the beginning stitch. So it should look like this right now. It looks a little messy. It gets cleaner as we add more rows. So drop your color B, which is for me the red. Pick up your color A, which for me is the off-white. Pull up a loop and tighten a little bit with the other color. We're going to remember we're in the top of this one right here, and we're going to put in 2 drop down doubles, 8 back loop only single crochets, and then 2 drop down doubles. So as you go through, it'll be a drop down double into this first one. Remember that one's tight always. And a drop down double in the second one. And then you have 8 back loop only single crochets. Alright, and then we have 2 drop down doubles. So there's 1, and 1 into this one next to the 2 drop downs, and then 1 into the top of the drop down, 1 into the next drop down, and 1 into the one next to that. So you have 4 drop down doubles. Kind of start seeing it's like 2 here and then 4 here. Then we're going to do 8 back loop only single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I hope you went into the PDF that I attached in the discussion area and printed off this chart so you have it to follow along. Four drop down doubles. 1, 2, 3, this and 4. We're doing mosaic in the round. That's what we're actually doing. And it's kind of fun. It's a little bit scary when you first start doing it, but it's so much fun when you get used to it. We're going to do 8 back loop only single crochets. Tell me in the comments if you enjoy doing this. I have several charts that I've created, like this tree, that I'm going to put out there, but I need to know that there are other people who enjoy doing this the same way I do. So you have 4 drop down doubles. It's 2, 3, and 4, and then 8 back loop only single crochets. Go ahead and do that all the way around. See if you can see that all the way around. Remembering that when you get to the very last of this round, there will only be 2 drop down doubles because you started the round with 2 drop down doubles. Complete the 4 drop down doubles, the 8 back loop only single crochets, and the 4 drop down doubles, and I'll see you at the end of this round. Okay, so on row 7 of this pattern, you're going to have 3 back loop only single crochets. That's what this box, empty boxes, indicates. And then you have 6 drop down doubles across, and then you have 3 back loop only single crochets. And then you start the pattern over with 3 back loop only single crochets, 6 drop down doubles, and 3 back loop only single crochets to end the pattern. I've already started this row and forgot to hit record. So I'm just going to show you here. I have 1, 2, 3 back loop only single crochets, and then my 6 drop down doubles, 3 back loop only single crochets to end that tree pattern, 3 back loop only single crochets to begin this pattern, 6 drop down doubles, 3 back loop onlys, 3 back loop onlys, 6 drop down doubles, and so forth and so on, giving you 6 drop down doubles along the tree pattern and 6 back loop only single crochets in between. Go ahead and complete row 7 of this tree pattern, and I'll meet you back when you only have 3 stitches remaining in this row. I'm sorry, in this round. Okay, when you have reached the last 3 stitches, you'll put a back loop only single crochet, and then you will slip stitch to your beginning stitch, and it should start looking like this right here. We are on row 8 of our Christmas tree pattern, holiday hat pattern, of just the pattern itself. Remember, we did the band and then we started our pattern from the bottom up, starting again with row 1. So we're going to switch colors again, dropping that red one to the back, pulling the off-white one up. We're going to do 3 drop down doubles. The first stitch is always the doozy because it tries to hide from you. There's 2, 3 drop down doubles, and then 6 back loop only single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So then we're going to do 3 drop down doubles to finish out this Christmas tree pattern and 3 drop down doubles to start the next Christmas tree pattern. So from here on out till you get to the end of this round, you're going to have 6 drop down doubles, 6 back loop only single crochets. Go ahead and do that pattern all the way around, and I will meet you back when you have 3 stitches left. 1. Okay, so I have 3 stitches left, and they're drop down doubles, and that will finish off row 8. Whoops. Slip stitch to the beginning stitch. Now we're going to switch colors for row 9. Drop that white back, pull up your red, pull a loop through, tighten it up, and here we go. Row 9 is 4 back loop onlys, 4 drop down doubles. So right back into that same stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 drop down doubles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then 4 back loop onlys to finish out this pattern and 4 to start the next. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. This seems to get easier as you go along, doesn't it? Starts becoming easier to see your pattern and see where the next stitches are supposed to go. I think it's fun. So let's do 4 drop down doubles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then 4 back loop only single crochets to finish out, and 4 to begin. So a total of 8. And then 4 drop down doubles. So finish this, keep this pattern going all the way around, and I'll meet you back when you have just 4 to go. Okay, so we have 4 back loop onlys left to go. So there's 1, 2, 3, and I've got kind of one that's hidden right there because I pulled it way too tight. Oops. 1, 2, 3, and 4. and my slip stitch. Drop your red to the back, pull your white forward, and here we go with the next row. The next row says 4 drop down doubles, 4 back loop onlys, 4 drop down doubles. So find that first stitch. It's a doozy. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 back loop onlys. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 drop down doubles to finish this Christmas tree pattern out right here. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 4 drop down doubles to start the next one. So 1, 2, 3, 3, and 4. 4 back loop onlys. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 drop down doubles to end, 4 drop down doubles to start, which makes you a total of 8 drop down doubles, and then 4 back loop onlys. Repeat that pattern all the way around the round, and I'll meet you back here at the end. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you make this pattern with a smaller hook, making it a tighter weave, I'd sure like to see it. I'd love to see what it looks like using a smaller hook. Okay, so only a couple more rounds of this pattern to go. That was round 10. For this particular hat, we're only going to go up through 12. We're not going to do 13 and 14. 13 and 14 I save for my slouchy beanie tree hat, and that. But so just we're going to go through 12 on this one, and then we'll start. And then we'll start making the top. So from here to here, we're just doing the 12 rows. So switch colors again. Drop your white to the back, pull your red forward, tighten your white a little bit, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do 5 back loop only single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to do 2, which will be right in the center of this tree. 2 drop down doubles. We're going to do 5 back loop onlys, plus another 5, so 10 back loop onlys. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 2 drop down doubles. 2 drop down doubles. Ha ha ha. I love doing that like the count. Okay, sorry. 10 back loop onlys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 2 drop down doubles, which puts them right in the center of that tree. 1, 2, and then 10 back loop onlys. Go ahead and complete that same pattern all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the end of this round. When you get to the end of this round, we're going to drop our red, pull up our white. We're on our last row of the Christmas tree pattern before we start making the top. So drop your red to the back, pull your white up, and the last row for this will be 1 drop down double, let's see, 2 drop down doubles, 3 drop down doubles, 4 drop down doubles, there'll be 5 drop down doubles, 2 back loop onlys, and 5 drop down doubles all the way around. So 5 drop down doubles beginning the pattern, 2 back loop only single crochets, 5 drop down doubles ending the pattern, and then another 5 to start the next pattern. So you'll have 5 drop down doubles, 2 back loop onlys, 10 drop down doubles, 2 back loop onlys, 10 drop down doubles, 2 back loop onlys, and so forth until you get to the last 5 stitches where you'll have 5 drop down doubles and end the round. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you back at the end of this round and we'll start making the top. And just how cute is the inside of that? Anyway, when you get to your last 5 drop down doubles, you're going to slip stitch, and to that first stitch. And now you're going to cut your color B, which for me is the red, and I'm just going to drop that down inside for now. And now I'm going to go back to the same, pattern that we did prior to this Christmas tree pattern when we were making the brim. I'm going to put a single row of double crochets, and then I'm going to put 2 front post double crochets and 1 back post double crochet, 2 front post double crochets and 1 back post double crochet, all the way around. So chain 2, and you're just going to place double crochets all the way around, making sure that you have 60 double crochets at the end of this round. When you're seeing this, you're thinking, or at least I was thinking, oh my gosh, I made this way too big. But actually it turns out great, because when you gather the top and sew it, it tightens it up so that it fits really cute. And then of course your brim folds up, so it works out to be really cute. I just fell in love with this pattern when I did it. I want to do it in so many different colors, so many different hook sizes, But alas, I have other tutorials that I need to be working on. So if you do it in other colors, if you do it in other hook sizes, please, 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 please share that with me. I would love to see it. In fact, if you want to send me an email to crochetbynightdesigns@gmail.com with a picture of what you do, I will see if I can't show that on my Bedtime Yarn Tales in one of the upcoming episodes. Again, that's crochetbynightdesigns@gmail.com. I would love to see your work. I'd love to see what you do, how you work on this, what colors you do it in, what hook sizes, whether you add any of your own flourishes in on it. I think that would just be fantastic. I'm not very territorial when it comes to my stuff. I do like to get credit, just like anybody, for the design that I've created, but I don't mind when somebody changes it up. I just like for them to give me that initial credit as the initial designer and then make all the modifications that they want. Especially when it comes to Christmas patterns, I think the more the merrier, the better. The more you can do to them, bling them out, share them with your friends. The more you do, the better for everybody. I'm getting kind of hoarse here, so I'm trying to finish this up pretty quickly. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of this row. I'm sorry, of this round. It's a row if you're working straight. It's a round if you're going in a circle. That only makes sense, huh? Okay, so finishing up, make sure you got 60 stitches all the way around, and we're going to do the same thing we did at the bottom. We're going to do 2 rows of that 2 front post double crochets, 1 back post double crochet, 2 front post, 1 back. So chain 2. Oh my goodness, I got hair on this thing. I'm losing my hair like crazy. Okay, chain 2, front post double crochet 1 and 2, and then back post double crochet 1. Front post double crochet 2, 1 and 2, and back post double crochet 1. Go ahead and do that for 2 more rows, and then I'll see you at the end of these 2 rows. Okay, when you get to the end of that final row, you should have, it should measure about 8 inches. So you're going to finish that last stitch by putting a slip stitch, and then give yourself a long, long, long tail. I'm doing about probably 24 inches, and I am going to pull the yarn through all the way through to tie off. Pull it tight, and then grab your needle and you're going to weave the needle in and out. I'm going to go under the 2, over, under, over, and then every little bit I'm going to pull it tight and go under the 2 front post double crochets and over the back post double crochet. So just keep pushing it through. Underneath all the front post double crochets, pulling tight. And it's closing up the top of your hat. Keep threading that underneath and pulling tight till you get all the way around. Now you don't want to pull so tight that your yarn breaks, but you do want to pull tight enough that you get it to start closing up. And there's going to be, when you get to the very last, there's still going to be a little bit of a gap at the top, and that's okay, because what you're going to do then, I put my hand up underneath, and it's almost like a quadrant of 4, and I take my needle and I start sewing that top together. Pinching it closed. I've got my pinky in this side, I've got my thumb here, my finger and my finger, and I start catching some from each section. Sewing it up. Until that hole is closed. Nice and tight with no gaps. Once I've got it nice and tight, then I'm going to pull out my pom-pom and attach to the top. Sew my ends in, tie it off, cut it. I'm going to tie that off after I sew my pom-pom on. I'm going to sew all my ends in and fold the bottom up. And that's what it'll look like. I probably won't use this particular pom-pom because it's too big, but giving you an example, I need to grab another white one. But that's what it'll look like. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and creating this holiday hat with me. 'Tis the season. I hope you enjoy. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe button and that bell so you get notified of more videos as they come out. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good night.